Hey, this is Bree Cosmic Siren. Welcome to the Siren Pod, a safe space for those that have felt different and out of place, wanting to find a community of people who are open, curious, and who are looking to connect more deeply and who believe in magic. I know everyone is unique and has their own special path. My goal is to support you in trusting your inner voice and living life to the tune of your soul. This is episode 3, Respect Yourself, exploring what relationship patterns are following you. When I say relationship patterns, I mean those behaviors or situations that you find yourself in that repeat in all of your dynamics, whether it's romantic, platonic, familial. These patterns keep showing up and it's a cycle that you'd like to break. What's important here is that you notice that it's a pattern. There's a reason that it keeps repeating. There's a lesson here that hasn't been learned yet, and that's why it keeps showing up for you. I noticed that there's some common patterns that people find themselves in. I found them in my own relationship dynamics. They would overlap with my friends and my clients as well. What linked these patterns was a behavior or situation that one person was unhappy about and wanted to change. Whether it was someone doing all the cooking, cleaning, and chores, maybe one person financially supporting the other one, maybe one person not having healthy coping mechanisms and relying heavily on a substance, being the one that initiates conversation, keeping up with the emotional connection in the relationship, trying. It's important to think about the specific pattern and where the behavior comes from, why we enable certain situations. But I wanted to talk to you about the enabling part. What all of these situations have in common is one person's really unhappy with the behavior or the situation, and they're wanting desperately for the other person to change or be different or show improvement. And they tend to stay in the relationship much longer than necessary, or still stay in the relationship, but they're unhappy. And it's important to focus on the person that's unhappy. Why are they enabling that behavior? We can so often look to the other person who's not doing what we want and blame them, But what it comes back to is looking at self-respect, setting boundaries for yourself, acknowledging that, hey, I don't feel happy about the situation. How much longer do I want to stay in the situation? And do I respect myself enough to leave it? I want to tell you about a situation that happened for me. I had a partner that was going through a program, you could say school. It was a short duration. And it's really hard to work during this program. It's very vigorous. And I offered willingly, let them know that, hey, I'd support them during that time, during the few months, so they could focus on their studies, focus on their work in the program. And the intention was, they'd get a job within a couple months after the program. And I was happy to, right? I willingly did this. I was in a good place to do it. It wasn't going to affect me. And I wanted to support my partner. And then when the program ended and a couple months went by after that, we just got into a comfortable situation where I was continuously supporting them, cooking, taking care of them, financially supporting them. And I found myself wondering, okay, how much longer? Yes, I'm fine. I'll just keep picking up shifts. I'll just keep working. I can work more. I can make more. I'm able to do this, so I can. So it's okay. But looking back on that situation, I should have stuck with boundaries, or I should have made firmer boundaries, right? I think I had loose boundaries for myself and them. I just kind of said, oh yeah, after the program, get a job within a couple months. But looking back at the end of the program, I could have sat down with that person and said, okay, what's the plan? What are you going to do? I need you to do something by this date, or, something's going to have to change. And I got something part-time for a little bit, but it didn't last too long. And then I was fully supporting the both of us again. And, for some reason, I thought that was my duty, right? I'm in the position to, it's no problem. I can keep working. But then it started affecting me. I started getting drained. I even tried to compromise and ask them like, hey, I'll work. Do you want to just pick up the cooking and cleaning and stuff so that I can work? It's hard doing it all. And they promised, they said, no, like, I want to find something. I want to get a job. Like, of course, we'll split the chores and the cooking, but they were going to find something. They didn't want to rely on me. And I believed them. I had this habit, this pattern of believing in someone's words, their promises, even though their actions didn't match. And that's the problem with these situations, enabling behavior. It's we don't take someone for their actions. Like, yes, words are important, but the actions have to match it, right? They have to live in integrity. And when your actions don't match your words, if you keep promising someone something, the trust is broken and it starts breaking down the relationship. And that's what was happening. I was enabling this behavior. I wasn't setting boundaries. I kept believing in someone's words. And then the trust was slowly being chipped away at. And I started being filled with resentment. I had a coach at that time. I usually have a coach at all times, and the coach I was working with at that time, I told them, like, I feel like I'm resenting my partner. And she asked me, are you resenting your partner or are you resenting yourself? And that really made me pause. We can't control other people's behavior, right? But we can control ourselves. And it was me. I was the one that chose to be in that situation. I could have at any time walked away. I could have been more firm with my boundaries. I could have been more clear, or I could have just respected myself. I think there were several times where I said, if you don't have a job by this time, like, I'm leaving, like, I'm going. But I didn't leave. I didn't go. I kept extending the date for them because I wanted to believe them. I wanted to trust them. I mean, I loved them. I wanted to be with them and stay with them. But I wasn't respecting myself. I wasn't loving myself. And because I wasn't respecting my own boundaries, because I wasn't living in integrity, because my actions didn't match my words when I said I would leave if they didn't find something soon or something would change, then of course that's my reality. They're not going to either. After my marriage ended, I told myself I would trust someone's actions, not their words. I would trust someone's actions. And I kept saying that during this relationship that I'm talking about. But then my actions didn't even follow through with my words. I didn't leave the situation, even though I said I would. At the time I was thinking, why do I stay so long in these relationships? Why does it take me years of breaking myself down and hurting to the point of where I'm nothing to be able to walk away? I should be able to do this earlier. I should be able to walk away or leave a situation when I know it's not for me. What am I holding on to? What am I holding on for? Because I knew deep down it wouldn't change. I knew that I deserved something different. I knew that I deserved to be loved and supported the way that I was asking, the way that I was doing it for someone else. So why do I keep staying in these relationships for longer than necessary? It's like I wasn't accepting the situation. I didn't want to believe in the situation. Like, yes, things were happening as they were, but I wasn't accepting that that's what it was. I wanted so desperately for this relationship or situation to turn out differently. I wanted the person's actions to be differently than they were, but they're not. I needed to accept that this is the reality of the situation. I needed to accept and acknowledge how I was feeling about it. And then I needed to respect myself enough to be the one to do something, to make a change, to not rely on someone else's actions to change the situation. I think it's because I thought that because I loved this person so much, I should make it work. I was still repeating things from my marriage, Just because you love someone doesn't mean the relationship's going to work out. It's like that question, is love enough? Like, love is so important, right? Well, depending on the relationship. Not everyone's in a relationship for love. But for me, I love this person so much. So I had that limiting belief. And I should do everything within my power to make the relationship work, to keep going, to support them. And yes, it's important to do the best you can, but you shouldn't sacrifice yourself for somebody else. You don't need to light yourself on fire to make others feel warm. That's not how it's supposed to be. In this situation, we were both able-bodied adults, able to take care of ourselves, theoretically, me leaving, me staying and supporting them took away his own power. Did I not believe that he couldn't take care of himself if I were to stop? What did I think was going to happen if I wasn't there supporting him? He would have figured it out. He was able to. In that specific situation, I had to think back, does this pattern show up anywhere else? And the overarching pattern of me hoping and wishing things would be different and staying in a relationship for years, that had been my pattern in, all my relationships. And what it goes down to is the self-respect and the boundaries. It's also acknowledging that, hey, I don't feel good. How long do I want to not feel good for? And it's okay for me to walk away. With the money and financial support specifically, I, traced it back to childhood. These patterns that show up, it's because usually it starts somewhere in childhood. And I thought about that. What other relationships did I have where I was supporting them financially or giving away money when they wouldn't return it, or it took so long for them to return it? And this happened in a friendship. This happened in a different relationship. I tried to go back and see, where did I see this behavior? What do I believe? What is the belief that I have around money and supporting partners? And when I think about my childhood, from what I saw and my experiences, I developed a belief that I must help loved ones in need. When I was a child, my family would borrow my money, not give it back. But, I was like, oh, but this is theirs to use. Like, everything of mine is theirs to use because it will help them, And I also saw that, like adults and others supporting others, giving money, even at the detriment of themselves, because they were just family, because they were loved ones, because they were friends. So I developed this belief that what's mine is automatically theirs, even if it's at the expense of myself. And like I said, it should never come to the point of you sacrificing yourself and hurting yourself to support others. I want to talk about how I was able to walk away, because it was really hard to walk away from that relationship. I really, really loved this person so much. There was so many things that I loved about him personally and our relationship. And I think that's what made it so hard. You can love someone and be hurt by someone. It can exist in the same. You can love someone so much and the relationship not be good for you. And I think that was what was hard for me to accept. I thought, because there are good things about our relationship, because I have strong feelings for this person, that means that I should stay in the relationship, that we can get past anything. But that's not true. What's important is the feeling, Energy doesn't lie. It's either a yes or a no. And because the trust was broken down and because I was feeling so bad, the energy was a no, and I was resisting that. I didn't want it to be a no. I had delayed plans that I had for this person, waiting for them, and just so much time went by where I decided, I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to follow through, because I should follow my dreams and follow what makes me happy, because that's a priority, right? Ourselves should always be the priority. Our happiness is important. What we want is important. The life that we want to live is important. And so I just started making plans to do that. I moved cross country by myself. I found work here. I supported myself. And I told them I wanted them to come with, if they were able to, And being able to be in my own space and in my own energy helped clarify things for me. Because when I would go back to this person, things would change. I would feel bad again. It would hurt. I was waiting and waiting for this person, but they couldn't come with. One of my mentors told me, not everyone will be able to follow you where you go. The space that I'm in, my goals, how I'm healing and empowering myself, it brings me to a certain path. And not everyone will keep up, and not everyone will want to keep up. She told me I have to be okay with letting go of people. That's what I realized. I couldn't push this person to come with. I couldn't push this person to want to be where I am. I couldn't push this person to make different decisions. I had to just do what was best for myself. And if they aligned, they aligned. It's never about right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. It's just, is it aligned? And we weren't aligned. And I think that's what helped me. You don't have to hate someone. You don't even have to dislike someone to let them go. It can just be because you're not aligned. And you have to trust your feelings. For me, I trusted that this doesn't feel good. I need something else. I need something different. So I had to walk away. Even if I don't know what that means, even if I don't know where I'm going, it's scary to think about the unknown and not knowing what's going to happen, but you have to acknowledge if you want to shift from where you want to be. I just know that this isn't it, so let me make a different step. Let me make a change. It all goes back to your voice matters, your feelings matter. You can trust your intuition, your inner voice. And, whenever I trust my intuition, my inner voice, things always turn out for the better. Even though that experience was so painful and I had to let go of someone I love so much, being here, moving here by myself, making new friends, a lot of things have changed and shifted for me. Empowered myself, like I can do anything. I can be anywhere I want to be. I can connect with who I want to connect with. And I can live in alignment. And everyone can, right? I think a lot of people stay in situations that don't feel good because they don't know what else there is. They're scared of what they don't know. They're scared of the unknown. But for me, it was scarier to stay in a situation that I wasn't happy in than it was to explore something I didn't know. You just have to think about, what will you regret? It's all about choice, right? There's no right or wrong. It's your choice. You can choose to stay in a situation where you feel unhappy and not in alignment, where you feel restricted, where you're constantly questioning yourself, wondering if this is how things will be, desperately waiting for a change. Or you can choose to walk in a different direction. You can finally trust yourself, trust your inner voice, and follow that path. And yeah, it's going to be scary because you haven't done it yet. You've been ignoring it, silencing it, and staying in this reality. But just because something is familiar doesn't mean it makes you feel good. It doesn't mean that it's aligned. You already know the type of life you'll have while silencing your voice and ignoring your feelings. Just imagine the type of life you would live if you started listening to your voice, your intuition. For me, it was just, I don't want to live how I currently am. So let me choose a different path, because any other path would feel better to me than the path that I'm on right now. For me, there was fear. What if I let go of this person, this relationship, this life? What if when I walk this other path, things won't end up how I want them to be? Things won't go well. But that was just my ego talking, my fears, because I trusted myself. I know what it feels like to not feel good. I know what a no feels like. So if I keep making decisions on what a yes feels like, where I feel good, then I trust that my next choice and all the choices I make after that will bring me closer to the life that I want. I know that right now it's a no, so I have to pivot elsewhere, and I can just keep pivoting toward my yes. It's like on Frozen 2, which I love, by the way. It's that last song, do the next right thing. Just take one step at a time. Just take one step toward your yes and keep going. And it will lead you to a life that you couldn't even imagine. At least that's what's happened for me. Again, to rewrite your limiting beliefs, to figure out the source of your patterns, you can do an inner child meditation. Just go on YouTube, download my free one. You can talk to your inner child, see what messages that they have for you, see what situation happened for you. Love, nourish, hear yourself. Make an affirmation for yourself and take an aligned action. We all have the power to change like our reality, our world. We just have to take the step. If you want help shifting a relationship pattern, finding the source while healing your inner child and bringing in a new belief so that you can break the cycle, you can send me an email for coaching options or check out my website for other offers. I hope my story inspires and empowers you to respect and acknowledge your feelings more, to believe yourself when you don't feel good, and to believe yourself when you do. You know what makes you feel good inside. You know what a yes is, and you know what a no is. And it's okay for you to make decisions for yourself based on just what feels good and what doesn't. You don't have to be the one to support and care for others all the time. You also deserve to feel loved and happy. Thank you again for connecting with me. Let me know if anything resonated for you, or let me know what your relationship pattern is, or what are ones that you've broken the cycle for. If you want to continue connecting with me, go ahead and subscribe and get notified when I release a new episode. You can also join my Siren Pod weekly newsletter, where I share with you weekly doses of magic and tips. As always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Sending you warm wishes and soothing hums.